is an easy and one is a difficult question.
I'm the founder and CEO of Circular Tree. We want to provide transparency in complex supply chains.
We are an impact investor, and I personally oversee portfolio support for all our investments globally.
I am the board member for SAP that oversees all of the customer-facing teams.
We are a social business and a beer brand based in Berlin. We support social projects by selling beer and giving the profits back to community.
I'm one of the co-founders at Soulbottles. Our idea was to get people to drink more tap water instead of buying plastic bottled water.
Inside SAP, I have a program called 1 Billion Lives, a social entrepreneurship program. We've got some ventures that are up and running now. We seem to have hit a wall on how much more we can increase the scale of it. Is that something that each of you are experiencing?
It's a challenge we are facing when it comes to unlimited growth. We are asking ourselves, okay, how regional can or must we be? With how many breweries do we have to work to be still seen from the customer's perspective as a regional product? Can we improve and increase the impact we create?
While you were talking, I was just thinking about if the regional aspect is always also the one that is more sustainable, because when we produce bags for Soulbottles to carry around, at first we thought obviously we're going to make them in Berlin. We're based in Berlin, we use them here. But now we had two lines starting, one produced in Uganda and the other one in Ethiopia. And my feeling was that actually helped a lot more, because you actually gave this the value chain also to the global south. And that is obviously a question then when you think, okay, is it more sustainable or more in your idea of impact of producing it regionally, or you're going somewhere where you think actually job creation is needed more, and at the same time don't lose your entrepreneurial mindset and your just do it kind of mentality, because if you just do all the math first for half a year and you never launch a product.
Well, both of you described it's almost like the scale strategy is the strategy.
We also have different ways of scaling. One thing, for example, is the impact we create. Right now we're focusing more on social, health and safety and economic impact, but our vision is certainly also to include environmental impact. Mining can have a very serious negative impact on the environment, so this is certainly a next step we're thinking about.
We look at scale from two different perspectives. There's one in terms of thinking about getting more products out there, reaching more customers, but the other is actually the depth of the impact. I could buy from 10,000 farmers today and I buy from 12,000 farmers tomorrow, the following year. Or I continue to work with 10,000 farmers, but I keep increasing their share of the value. So that's sort of the
So it's like a share of wallet scaling idea. So you're not actually having to extend geographically or extend your market, but it's a share of wallet. So what are the strategies though to help?
The first thing, it helps us with the efficiency, driving efficiency in the entire value chain. The second would be in driving value addition to the products that these suppliers or these smallholder farmers are generating. So if you move from cotton to organic cotton, for example. And the third is actually in processing. So you don't sell out raw materials, but can you take the next step in the value chain towards creating additional revenues and income opportunities for these farmers?
It's always, I think it's pretty tough for you probably as an investor to, on the one hand, of course, want to get your loan back, and on the other hand also looking into the impact scale.
I think where we like to come from as an investor is to understand that the inherent sustainability of their business is important for the scalability of the social outcomes. If there is no business, there is going to be no social outcome. In terms of working with corporates, how committed are corporations to working with social enterprises? Will the corporation actually make a conscious choice to say, even if it is going to cost me a percentage point off from my bill of materials or whatever it is, I will choose to work with a social enterprise?
Most corporations would have 4 parameters, and price is only one of them. Our experience so far of onboarding social enterprise into our supply chain is that the cost has been the same or lower. So it's actually been a very big benefit even just from a pure business ROI perspective.
A lot of companies say they have a purpose and that they have values, but we talked with a lot of companies, and in the end, it's just the bottom line. We get more and more requests from bigger companies to work together with us, which is like very typical. On the one hand side, it's like profits, it's also more impact, but also, of course, your own brand and what you stand for. It's a very important topic, and this is discussed within the Soulbottles team.
So where do you think the risk is? How does your brand change?
Well, if a company decides to buy Soulbottles and put their logo on it, instead of buying all the mineral water, then this is the impact that we wanted, that is fine. But are you just giving it away to customers for free to brand yourself eco-friendly?
So it's about authenticity.
Exactly.
I understand that challenge, but I have to say that our experience has been different.
That is very, like, it gives me a lot of hope, yeah?
Every single corporation today is in a war for talent.
Yes.
And today's talent wants to contribute in a way that isn't just about top and bottom line. And they want to work for a company that is authentic in how they are changing the community or the society that we live in. So for instance, we swapped our coffee provider to a company called Change Please. Now the only thing they complain about is the queues are longer because it's better coffee. So I think you can do it with authenticity and still achieve the goal of your shareholder community.
How do you measure a social enterprise? Do you do it by the impact they create, or do you do it by the bottom line, or how do you find the right balance between that?
Impact measurement, I honestly believe, is very nascent. It's something that all organizations struggle with. It's easier to say how fast your revenues have grown or how profitable you are. I could make a PhD dissertation out of what is required, but broadly I would say there are three elements that we look at. One is we try and find KPIs. That is something that the field staff is actually doing on a day-to-day basis. So we don't ask the entrepreneur to hire somebody to actually go get the data, right? So it can be as simple as, okay, how many leases did you make for the Boda Bodas in Uganda? So I made 5,000 leases, great. 5,000 is a number that I can work with. Second, it has to be simple. And three, to a certain extent, it should have a control group. So we need to have a base measurement, right? Exactly. So, and that we try and work with the entrepreneur at the early stage of our investment to say, where are you today? And then where is your journey taking you and how are those outcomes being reached? We try to keep it as pragmatic and less theoretical for the entrepreneurs.
And if you find a business which you think really has a great impact, but financially is in trouble, what do you do then?
The first thing we try and do is to understand how you could solve for the financial sustainability. So if it means that for a year you're not going to make more leases or sell more education kits, that's fine. Let's get your house in order.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I think too. At the end of the day, your impact will go to zero if you're bankrupt. So without a solid financial bottom line, you cannot create positive impact.
You start off with €800, you crowdsource 26,000. How do you get from there to the potential of what your business can be?
It's the personal decision, I think, right? It's the moment you really dedicate everything into it and fully accepting the failure or the possible failure too.
It's just about going into it, a long breath for yourself and hopefully for your friends and family who's supporting you.
The entrepreneurs that I've seen, I think you guys summarized it the best. It's just the passion and the fire that keeps them going.
I would underline your point with having the right team. I think this is really, really crucial. You need a complementary team where you have different skill sets and a common vision, and then you can become successful.
I guess for me, there's always a story. There's always that moment, the do or die decision. They become part of the legend of a company. Hopefully when you are multi-billion-dollar enterprises, impacting at scale, those stories will matter because they'll matter to the people that work for you. All right. Thanks a lot, Gunther.
Thank you.